Hello, hello, hello. I am Ciara DeComi. Thank you so much for being here. And this is Wisdom and Radiance with Ciara DeComi. I am your host, and I'm so excited that you're here today. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so and like the video. Please comment. Would love to hear from you. So today we've been going through a series of steps that are part of my 90-day program, which is really geared for female entrepreneurs, female business owners, females that are in business. Maybe you're in sales, maybe you're in project management, managing director, and you feel like perhaps there could be more that you are not uncovering with yourself. Perhaps you're going through stress or you are massively overwhelmed with trying to balance out life and kids and husbands and hopefully not more than one husband, but it would be way too much to handle, right? So yeah, you have a lot on your plate and you're incredible and you want to be perfect and you want to be amazing to everybody and you maybe sometimes get resentful because you just can't do all that. So I'm here to tell you that you need to do that for you. You need to be that person for you and everything else will work itself out, as awkward as that might sound. So, this is step 5 that we're going to be talking about today. And in my program, we do go through a considerable amount of detail and we just have more time and we have more one-on-one time. So, it's a 90-day program and it's called Source Wisdom Radiance, Manifesting Health, Wealth, and Happiness from the Inside Out. So if you haven't seen my other videos, check those out. We're just going through step by step. There's 9 steps in the system and the program. And again, in the program, we go through a lot more detail. But I really want to give people a sense of the different types of things that we go through and provide a benefit or a tool, I should say, to help you navigate some of the waters that you're in right now. So step 5 is all about manifesting abundance, like wealth abundance. How do we do that? That seems to be the big topic of the day these days. Cultivating wealth consciousness is really step 5. But it is about manifesting abundance because if we don't have a wealth consciousness, which many of us do not, otherwise we'd all be billionaires, then that you can't really manifest it. And I got tuned into these things, gosh, decades ago. And unfortunately, I didn't use the tool correctly, although I've done really well in my career. Um, I've done really well in my career throughout my life. I up until recently, I just didn't quite hit the I hit plateaus is probably the better way of saying it. And so today I want to talk more about how do you start to see some of your limiting beliefs that have been impacting you on getting to that next level, because we all have them. Unless, of course, you came from a very wealthy family that had a very wealthy mindset, and they imparted that on you so that you could create amazing abundance in your life. But that's rare. It's very rare. Um, Wealth isn't necessarily generational, and we learn a lot from our parents. We learn a lot from the people who raised us or were around us for a majority of our life. So it's interesting as I've gotten older. My dad has passed away. My mom is still alive, and I start to see the programming that exists within my own family unit about scarcity. Even though my family was not well to do, but just definitely upper middle class. Like we never struggled with where are we going to find our next meal. And my parents worked their tails off so much that my grandma ended up being my nanny. So she pretty much raised me. She had a massive scarcity mindset. Growing up no, I don't think she was actually in the depression. I think she was born after the depression, but definitely her parents were in it. So it just gets passed down. And so I start to see different things as I really dive deeper into how important our mindset is with just the words that I hear sometimes coming out of my parents' mouths, just around, oh, we can't afford that, or why would anyone buy this ridiculously expensive vehicle, or save your money, and nothing wrong with saving your money or any of this. It's the mindset behind it. And that, you have to, for me, it was about go to school, get good grades, um, so you can get a good job, pick a good major that's very popular, and find that really good job, and then make sure you're doing your 401k. And it was like the more I had that drilled in me, the more I was wanting to do it my own way, which is very interesting. So, one activity that I want to propose in this segment, and there's so much more. In my 90-day program, we actually go through practical strategies. And I've spent a 20-year career in the commercial finance business. So, have helped business owners, small and huge, basically look for capital they need to grow their business. So, for me, it was all about, let me check this balance sheet, let me check the profit and loss. Like, where is there a struggle? Where are there assets? Where can we find holes in the company that we can fill? And where can we find collateral in the company that we can collateralize and help this company grow? So most of my career has been about buying real estate and coaching and consulting in the commercial finance industry with various different companies. So I know many, many strategies on how to help um, really beef up the balance sheet, if you will, and help not only personal, but also business get to that next level. So today, though, we want to talk about releasing money blocks. And the first way to release a money block is to understand what it is. And that goes back to the conversations. So you can do this. I like to do this as a writing activity, but you can also do it as a meditation where you find a quiet spot, maybe put on some nice music that helps you get into theta or alpha, and just meditate and sit with what thoughts are coming up around your idea around money or wealth or success, anything that has to do with that space of wealth abundance. So that's one way of doing it inside a meditation where you can get grounded, you can be in your center and allow that kind of flow to come out. Another good way, and again, you sort of have to feel what is right for you, because everybody's different. And for me, sometimes some things work magically and sometimes other things work better. So I try different things. I did have one time a period I went through where it was, I have to be outside. Now it's too hot, but I have to be outside and in nature with this kind of abundance meditation song I had that I would play. And I would just get flooded with ideas. And then sometimes I would journal what was coming up and just allow that experience to happen, or I would just kind of be with the ideas that came up. So you want to be really intentional when you go into this practice, whether it's writing or meditating, about what you want to get out of it. And what you do want to get out of it is answers to what could be your money blocks. What are the things that could be holding you back that you are not necessarily seeing because you're living a busy life and you're running around and you're doing your thing. So start to tune into what those are. Sometimes also for me, I'll just add one more thing here. it just comes up for me randomly where I'll have a conversation with someone and I'll realize I said something that was very scarcity mindset. And I'll think, oh, I remember my grandmother used to say that when I was a little kid and she raised me. And she would always have this thing about, no, we can't afford it. And money doesn't grow on trees. And don't, haste makes waste. And don't, my dad, oh my goodness, he, we could not leave the table without finishing every single bite on our plate. And his mentality was that if you put it there, then you're going to eat it. Doesn't matter if you're full, doesn't matter if you took too much, doesn't matter if you gain weight. Like you need to be responsible for what you put on your plate. There's absolutely no food going to be wasted. So that was one, again, scarcity mindset, that you can't throw food away because we paid for this food and we worked really hard. Nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong with any of that. And if you really look, it is coming from scarcity, that there's not enough food on the planet. So I would encourage you a couple things. So either meditate, go out in nature, journal, some combination of, and when you're journaling, I'll flesh that out a little bit more in more detail for you. When you're journaling, so sit down in a quiet spot, close the door, or be outside, whatever works for you in the moment. And just make sure you're not distracted. Try to put a note on the door, let your family know that you're working on something. And ask yourself, what are my limiting beliefs around money? And see what happens. See what happens with that. So that is the bulk of it. I mean, that I should say that's the start of it, because that's where you start to really see some of those beliefs and what they are. And the second part of the activity then would be to write out the opposite of those beliefs. Like, say, for example, money doesn't grow on trees. You can write out the opposite of that. Actually, money does grow on trees, because our fiat dollar, which is really worthless, is just paper, right? So I know it's kind of semantics, but the reality is it does kind of grow on trees. So just play with that and see what comes up around. I is a good one. I can't afford it. And so the opposite of that, or an alternative for that, could be, I am working on affording it, right? Because you don't want to like mess with your subconscious mind. If you have these thoughts to just create the exact opposite, sometimes messes with your head, because on the inside you could be thinking, if you say, I can't afford it, and then you say, I can afford anything I want, it just might be too much. So I like to create a step up to that belief, where you're saying, I I'm working on affording it. Hopefully that makes sense. And just play with these things and feel how it feels in your body. So that's always the test. If you write out, I can't afford it, and then the opposite is, I'm a multimillionaire, just sit with that. How is that? Is that coming up in your body, in your chest, maybe in your solar plexus, perhaps, or even lower, because that's where our money stuff comes from, the root chakra. So feel that, feel it in your body, and there's nothing to do with it. There's tons of release techniques we can talk about in the future for sure. And it's also right now, be gentle on yourself and just notice, just start to see and experience where those, well, first off, the limiting beliefs, and then how that lands for you in your body when you create the opposite, or some kind of step up to the next level. So if you go to the millionaire one, and then all of a sudden your body's like, oh my gosh, I can't handle it. So just feel that. Great, amazing, you're alive. How cool. And then just let it be. And you might need to just do this, a couple times a week. You could do it every day. Just see, you could keep an ongoing journal that when you actually start to really open up your consciousness, because that's essentially what we're doing is building your wealth consciousness. When you start to open that up and you see the opposite of what you want, meaning your limiting beliefs, write those down, and then you can just be kind of toy with it throughout time. There's no rush. It's just it I mean they come up all the time. So I start to see new ones that didn't even know I had. I'm like, wow, where did that come from? Oh yeah, grandma. Of course. So it's a fun activity. Have fun with it. This is nothing serious going on here, and have fun with it. And I do offer a clarity call. So if you're in that space right now where you feel like you are wanting to access more of whatever, more of health, more of wealth, more of happiness, yeah, reach out to me, comment, and book a clarity call with me. It's a free call. I would just love to support you in getting to that next level and seeing how I can support you and if I can support you. So thank you. Thank you again. Please like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate you, and I'm wishing you the best day ever. Thank you. Mwah. Love you.